Hi everybody, it's Megan Fielder from Algebra Elevated, and today I just want to talk about how I organize my files on my computer as a teacher. So organizing all the digital files can be quite chaotic at times, especially as you teach more and more years, you have more and more stuff, and so trying to figure out how to organize that has been something I've been working on, and this year I've really honed in and I'm really loving the system that I have in place, so I thought I'd share it with you all. First off, a couple things before I go deeper into what I exactly do. I wanted to share a couple of tips just in general that have really helped along the way improve the naming convention and the organization of my files. First of all, it might not be a super big surprise, but folders. Folders are really helpful for organizing and subcategorizing all of your files. I have all of my files laid out based on how I teach each school year. So I have folders for each unit. Within each unit, if it's a larger unit, I also sometimes have like a part 1, 2, 3, or 4, or a part A, B, or C, depending on whichever one it is. And that has really been able to help me because then in each folder, I have a smaller chunk of material rather than working with maybe a 6-week long unit all in one place. So folders are really, really helpful. Another thing that I found super helpful is with the surge of digital resources, it can be quite cumbersome to find those digital resources after we've used them. So what I have started to do this year and have loved it and how it's worked out is I actually create a document for those digital resources which I'll show you in a minute, it'll make more sense, but a document with the link to that activity inside the resource. So if it's a Google Drive link, I'll put that link in a Word document and say, assign this for homework. Boom. So then it's there with all of my other Word documents so that I have everything all in one place. I was really, really torn between half of my stuff was in my Google Drive, half of it was on my computer in folders, and I couldn't manage both. So what I did is I made sure I have at least access to it all in one place, and then if it takes me outside of my folders, that's fine. That works for Google Drive assignments. I also have a ton of Boom Card activities. There's a link for those as well. So I put the link in a Word document with like one sentence explaining where it's going and what it is, and then it's all in one place. Okay, so those are my 2 tips just in general. Then, as far as my files themselves, I found that for me personally, the naming is very, very important. Before every file that I use during the school year, I have a naming convention that indicates what unit it is and where in the unit I teach it. Now, I do this 2 different ways for the 2 different classes that I teach, so I'll explain both of them. First off, I teach algebra, and it's advanced algebra, and we do not have a textbook. So the entire curriculum is made by myself and our curriculum team. Because of that, every day is a new topic, and it's whatever we came up with. For an algebra curriculum, I name it by the unit, so say it's unit 1. Then I name it by the subunit. I have A and B, part A and part B, and I have a quiz in between. So the file names go 1 point or 1.A dot, and then the day that I teach on. So like if it's day 3, it would be 1A3. If it's day 6, it's 1A6. If it's day 2 of part B, it's 1B2. So that's the naming convention for them. It's all by the day. And that's because the lesson themselves go by the day, so it works out really nice. The title is by the day, and then I say whether it's notes or homework, and that's how we go. Now, that worked really, really well for algebra because we're not following a textbook. Everything is catered to the way we teach it and how their calendar works out. So the 1A and then the day number was easy. Then I switch over to, I also teach a Math 7-8 class, but that one we go with a textbook. So this was really, really hard for me to figure out how to do the naming conventions for this class because the textbook is laid out by section number and like part number. So it's like the book title and then it's chapter 2, section 1. Well, I might teach 2.1 on Monday and then I might practice 2.1 for 3 more days and it's all 2.1. So I can't put my naming convention as 2.1 and then 2.2 and then 2.3 like I would for algebra because it's actually 2.1. We're just learning it one day, practice. So what I found worked really well for my other class is I still have like that 2.1 in there, but before that part of the title, the kids can't even see it. It's not on the document themselves. It's just in my files. Before that title, I put a number and indicate what day I taught it on. So if it is in my unit 2, I'll have like 02 represents the second day of unit 2. And it's only in the title of the file, so I don't have to worry about it being on the documents themselves. So if I move things around, I just change the title and I don't have to worry about changing anything on the document themselves. Now, this is how I learned this from a coworker or got the idea from a coworker, and that's what she did. So she had the like number of the day that she taught it on, and it was just organized within each folder for her class. One small amendment that I added on to even that is I was struggling trying to remember what I did during class, especially like if it was one of my partner activity, Google Drive activities. So I would do it in class or I can also assign it for homework, and I could never remember which was which. So what I did is I started doing 1A, like 1A represents that it was an in-class activity, and 1B represents it was day 1 as a homework activity. So the A and B represent in-class and homework, and then the number represents what day it is. And if you see, I use like 01 and 02, 03, 04, and that's so that once I get to day 10, all my numbers will stay in a line and it doesn't like move everything over once you get into the double digit days. So those are just some ideas for how you can name things. Like I said, the biggest game changer was including the links for digital activities. So in my Google Drive, I'll even make a Google Doc and I use it as a placeholder so that that day still has my in-class activity or my homework activity. It just links it to that external location so that I know where to find it. The also great part about all of this is that then, especially all the Google Doc or Google Drive notes and homework and activities, I then link that on my digital planner so then it will take me right where I need to go. And then if I move anything around, it should be pretty easy to find. Last little bonus, if you're still here with me, is what to do with all those files that you don't use anymore or that you save for future use, or like maybe some on Teachers Pay Teachers, you downloaded it and you're like, oh, I'm going to use this next year or something like that. Couple things that I do for that. First of all, I have a separate folder for beginning of the year stuff and end of the year stuff. So at the beginning of the year, I have my syllabus, my class norms, my like get to know you activities. That all goes in one folder. So it's not part of Unit 1, it's in its own place. End of the year, same thing. I have my graduation little notes for my students and all the letters of rec, all that goes in the end of the year. But that random stuff that you either don't use or want to use next year, within each unit folder, so like under unit 2 it might be, I have a folder in there called like archive or old materials. That's stuff that I've used before but just don't really like use it. Maybe it doesn't fit as well or I found something better to replace it. But I like to have that separate because I sometimes will remember, oh, I've done this activity before, like where did I put it? So it's in the archive if I've used it in the past. Then I put it in a different folder called like either prospective activities or future ideas. That is stuff that I've found along the way. Maybe it's not the right time for it. And I put that in there if I have not used it. that tells me that I might need to like look it over a little more closer, or I might need to like check the answer key or stuff like that before I use it, because I kind of haven't given it that test run. So all in all, I hope that gives you some ideas and a little insight into how I've been able to organize my files. And it kind of works as a little planner in itself, so I can quickly glance and see, oh, that took me 12 days to teach this part of the unit last year. And it is a nice, easy reminder to what I did yesterday, what I did today, and keeps everything in a line. So if you have any different ideas or contributions to this concept, if you could comment down below and let us all know what else is out there. Also, if you could like, subscribe, and share, I'd greatly appreciate it, as we're trying to grow this little community of teachers out there. So hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.